Good morning to all, and many thanks, Dr. Moyuri, for such kind words. And I am already enriched by all these lectures, and I am just going to make a summary of the whole thing. So, what is the present day status? If we start with the slide that is called PACT, the first slide is PACT, the major beneficiary. I personally feel that with a high visual morbidity and if we do an early detection of anatomically narrow angles, it is extremely important. And if we can combine of various anti-segment imaging technique, we get a clear picture of angle anatomy that help us to make appropriate treatment decisions. Indentation gonioscopy is still the gold standard for assessment of the angle by simply the fact that it can assess the occludability much easily. But there are drawbacks, there are subjective variation. The types of lenses are different. There is a little bit long learning curve, and there may be variation in ambient illumination. Placement of the lens or mechanical compression can make a difference. And we need to avoid in damaged epithelium, conduit opaque corneas, and things like that. So the objective assessment of antechamber angle can be done photographically by either Pentacam or ICAM, or optically by UBM or OCT. So ICAM is a portable handheld device which under dark illumination in supine position using a coupling gel, and it does a direct imaging of antechamber angle through a wide field lens, and the image captured by a digital video camera and assessed in the computers. And it has been shown that this is a good objective method of visualization and moderate to excellent inter- and inter-observer reliability, good agreement with the gonioscopy in several studies. But on the other hand, there is poor depth assessment in narrow angle recess when compared to ASOCT, and it is influenced by position-related changes, just like UVM. Pentacam, it images the anterior segment from cornea to posterior surface of the lens in 3D image. Direct visualization of angle recess is not possible because the light doesn't penetrate so easily deep into the sclera, and uses a straight line to describe a curved plane iris, so there can be inaccuracies in angle width measurement. Anterior segment OCT and UBM are two most commonly used devices for anterior segment imaging, where anterior segment OCT is a non-contact rapid imaging device that uses low coherence interferometry to obtain cross-sectional images. The measurements are semi-automatic and have good reproducibility, and it is non-operator dependent and can easily done by a sitting position, as known to have higher sensitivity when detecting angle closure compared to gonioscopy. And when we go through the different ages of anterior segment OCT, from time domain to spectral domain to now available SWAP source OCTs, the scan speed has increased from 200 per second to 20,000 per second. But we need to remember the basic thing that when the wavelength is shorter, there may be better resolution but lower scan depth. And if we have a higher wavelength, just like in SSOCT or SWAP source, there is enhanced depth of penetration of the light beam, so we get fantastic resolution, and which is definitely repeatable and reproducible. The qualitative assessment has been covered up beautifully by Dr. Medha, but we should understand that the important landmark to identify the ASOCT images is the scleral spar, which is visible as an inward projection of the sclera, and apposition between the iris and the inner corneoscleral wall has been used as a qualitative method of detecting angle closure. Quantitative assessment of the angle is possible with the built-in software, which requires identification of the spar, and several parameters have shown good reproducibility, like angle opening distance, angle recess area, and TISA, like trabecular eye space area. Several new ASOCT parameters have been associated with angle closure, including smaller AC width, smaller AC area, lower AC volume, larger lens fold, and greater iris curvature. And for diagnosis of angle closure glaucoma, ASOCT can detect clinically important changes in the antechamber angle structure in patients with angle closure glaucoma under light versus dark condition. And also ASOCT can demonstrate widening of the angle after laser PI, and also there is a longitudinal there is a study from this ZAP trial group where they have evaluated longitudinal changes of angle configuration in primary angle suspects. They saw that the primary angle widening was significantly reduced to 6 months, and it hinted towards the non-rebuff mechanism that may contribute to the primary angle closure glaucoma. So, not only the diagnosis of angle closure glaucoma, ASOCT can predict angle closure also. We can look at this study by Dr. Bhaskaran et al. From Singapore, who enrolled a cohort of 342 subjects with gonioscopically open angle, but uh, hydrotrabecular contact detected by Visante OCT. The subjects with more quadrants of ASOCT angle closure at the baseline had a greater chance of developing gonioscopic angle closure after 4 years, which was statistically significant. The new kid in the block is the SwabSource FDOCT device, Cassia 1000, or now the Antirion is also available from Spectralis, and these machines can rapidly obtain high-resolution scan with 3D reconstruction of the entire segment. As we know that the 15 to 28% of the ASOCT images are unable to identify the scleral spot properly, SPAR is best identified with SSO, this web source technique. Just because the scan depth is fantastic and the resolution is superb. So the SSOCT is also excellent in calculating iris volume, which has been shown to be important determinant of AC angle. Coming to hydrotrabecular contact index, which is an assessment of circumferential 360-degree angle closure, and the recent study by Bhaskaran et al. Demonstrated that this ITC index has a good diagnostic performance compared to gonioscopy for estimating the angle closure. And automated angle grading by the software programs such as ITC index are likely the future for ASOCT. But there are limitations of the ASOCT. It cannot image beyond posterior pigment epithelium of the iris. And there is no use in opaque corneas and pediatric glaucomas. Quantitative assessment depends heavily upon accurate identification of the scleral spars. So now there is some suggestion that the new landmarks like Schwalbe's line or Bell, that is band of extracanalicular level lamina, should be used. And overall, there is no normative database. As we know, there is a lot of ethnic variations in biometric measurements of the eye. So coming to UBM, which is a high frequency ultrasound at 50 to 100 megahertz, where the sound waves are converted to high resolution B-scan images, lower axial resolution than ASOCT. It has got lower axial resolution, and the field of view is smaller, the image acquisition is slow, and the needs an immersion scale or clear scan, water balloon. But UVM has good agreement with gonioscopy in its ability to evaluate angle closure in a dark room. That is, it is invaluable for structures to posterior to the iris pigment epithelium, as we know that the sound penetrates the pigment epithelium, but the light does not. And it is particularly useful in opaque corneas and congenital glaucomas, and the anterior chamber angle parameters in angle PACD, it measured by both UVM and ASOCT, had similar value sensitivity, specificity, and reproducibility. These are some beautiful pictures from this wonderful review by Dr. Jessica et al. Particularly, if you can look through this image where this was like a muscular syndrome, where it actually looked like an anterior segment synechia on gonioscopy, which later it discovered to be a silvery body tumor. The take-home message that ASOCT is the clear winner in establishing anterior chamber angle when the cornea is clear and the patient can sit upright. UVM should be used when the cornea is cloudy and you suspect a pathology that resides behind the iris frame hiding. Both technologies allow the acquisition and comparison of the objective data and parameters not possible in slit-lamp biomicroscopy or gonioscopy. ASOCT and UVM prove to be useful adjuncts, but can never replace clinical examination. And probably this is the future, that is called deep learning. It's an artificial intelligence function that imitates the working of the human brain in processing data and making decision algorithms. Application of the deep learning algorithms to assess anterior chamber angle and ASOCT images has shown excellent results, and probably it is comparable to the diagnostic ability of a very well-trained ophthalmologist. So thank you for your kind attention, and thank you for the